Monster Hunter World Iceborne's endgame can be a challenge for the best of hunters out there, but with the right weapons and builds, even endgame tasks can easily be achieved. I'm Darcblade, and we're back with even more amazing builds for Monster Hunter World Iceborne. In this episode, we're going to be looking at one-off builds regarded as farming builds in the game. When I say farming builds, these builds are used to go on investigations or expeditions where you don't intend to take on any large monster. Instead, your goal is to collect as many items and research points from gathering points and other items you can pick up in Monster Hunter World. Now, there will be two builds featured in this little one-off video, one that features an endgame set and one that features a budget set. But like I said, the whole reason for these builds are to go on an investigation or expedition, leisurely run around the map picking up as many items as you want, or go into various gathering points and collecting as much research points as you want without the stress of taking on large monsters. So the first build I use is the Endgame Gavurin build. This build makes use of one of the very endgame armor sets that requires research commission tickets plus to craft. These are rare tickets gained from some of the hardest optional quests there are, including a Hymn of Moon and Sun, We Run This Town, Divine Surge, The Storm Brings the Unexpected, and Master Hunter of the New World. Now on top of that, we will also be using a hunting horn for both these farming builds. And the reason behind this is we're using a hunting horn that vastly improves our speed, stamina consumption, and more. So for the first build, we're going to need the Guildwork Helm Beta, Guildwork Body Beta, Braces Beta, Waist Alpha, and Feet Beta. We're also using a Fitness Charm 4, and for the weapon we're using Cry in the Night, which is the Nargacuga Hunting Horn. Now augmentations don't matter on this build whatsoever, so we're going to skip over that, but we do have to take into account the mantles we're going to be using. Namely, the Assassin's Hood is our primary mantle, and then afterwards I've gone for a Ghillie Mantle. The main reason we're using the Assassin's Hood is because it gives us a speed boost, and the main reason for the Ghillie Mantle is so we don't actually have to deal with any large monsters we accidentally stumble across. Now as for the jaws, as always, depending on your jewel collection, you may have to swap out some here and there, but we've gone for a hard specimen jewel to provide us the entomologist skill. I've then gone for refreshed jewels to provide us the stamina surge skill, a geology jewel to max out the geologist skill, a hard intimidator jewel to provide us the intimidator skill, a sonorous jewel to max out the horn maestro skill, botany jewel to max out the botanist skill, and sprinter jewels to provide us a maxed out marathon runner skill. As for the jewels and the mantles, these are down to personal preference, to which I've simply gone for a cooling jewel to provide us the heat guard skill and a warming jewel to provide us the cold proof skill. So if you've done what I've done here, you should have a build with 100 health, 100 stamina, which will be 150 health and 150 stamina when you're on a hunt and taking all your relevant consumables, although your stamina can go up to a maximum of 200 when certain songs are in effect. You'll also have an attack of 1071 should you actually need to attack any small monsters, with purple sharpness, 20% affinity, with no element. But when it comes to the songs for the Nargacuga Hunting Horn, these are very important. The songs you need to have in effect pretty much for the majority when you're using this build are the self-improvement melody, which gives you the speed boost. You have the stamina use reduction L, tool use drain reduction L, which most importantly allows us to keep the Assassin's Hood active for longer periods. And as for the Echo Mark melodies, you'll have two very important ones, including Max Stamina Up and Recovery. This increases our potential maximum stamina to that potential 200. And you also have a Speed Boost and Evade Window Up. This obviously does what it says on the tin, it increases our speed as well as our dodge potential, but we're looking to utilise the speed buff when it comes to this one. Now as for the defences for this build, you have a decent defence of 907, that is positive against every single element, so it isn't considered actually weak to any element, so that's a side bonus. So as for the skills, you have Constitution level 4, Constitution reduces the stamina cost of actions that consume set amount of stamina, such as dodging or climbing vines and that. You have Botanist level 4, which increases the quantity of herbs and other consumable items you gather from the environment. So it's one of the key skills needed for a gathering build. You have Marathon Runner level 3. This reduces our stamina depletion when we're performing stamina consuming actions such as sprinting. You have Stamina Surge level 3, which increases the rate at which our stamina recovers itself. You have Geologist level 3. Geologist increases the number of times you can use gathering points, so say you're gathering from a bone pile or mining outcrop, it allows you to use those points more. Anyway, you'll also have Entomologist level 3. So when it comes to slaying small insects like Vespoids and that, it guarantees that a corpse will always be left behind to loot. Sometimes when you're fighting these monsters, when you don't have Entomologists, the hits from your weapons can just obliterate these monsters, leaving no corpse behind. But with this, it guarantees that you're able to loot whatever's left behind. You have Intimidator level 3, which reduces the chance that small monsters will attack you after they spot you. This doesn't affect all monsters though, including Hornator, Kestodons, Raffinos, and Vespoids. So that's something to be aware of. Anyway, you have Horn Maestro level 2, which increases how long melodies stay active. You have Flinch Free level 2, this is a byproduct, it's not really needed, it just prevents minor knockbacks from monster attacks. You have Honey Hunter level 1, which increases how much honey we can collect from honey gathering points. You have Cliffhanger level 1, again this is a byproduct of the armor, but it is useful. Cliffhanger decreases stamina depletion when evading while climbing to walls or on ivy, or if you should grapple to a monster, it reduces the stamina depletion when you're actually latched onto the enemy, so it could be considered quite useful. Anyway, next you'll have Forager's Luck, which is one of the more important skills on this build. Basically, Forager's Luck increases the chance at finding rare gathering points. Rare gathering points are normally indicated by little glowing sparkles around them that can yield some of the rarer items you can get from various mining outcrops, bone piles, so on and so forth. Anyway, next you'll have Detector. This is another rare skill that shows rare gathering points on the wildlife map, so you can prioritize them if you so wish. And finally, when you're wearing your mantles, you have Heat Guard, which prevents any heat damage, as if you've already got a cold drink in effect. So it prevents heat damage when you're in lava areas, such as the lava zone in the Guiding Lands, or when you're in the lava zone in the Eldest Recess. And you'll also have Cold Proof, which prevents cold damage as if you've already drinking a hot drink. So it prevents the cold effect that saps your stamina when you're in the Hoarfrost Reach or the Tundra region of the Guiding Lands. And then finally you'll have the set bonus Guild Pride, which when wearing 2 pieces, it will grant you good luck, which gives you a good chance of increased quest rewards. So basically when you're at the end screen, there's an increased chance of getting better rewards, although this isn't a build used to take on large monsters really, so good luck isn't going to be that effective with this build. And then finally when you have the 4-piece, you'll have Carving Master, allowing you to carve from a monster an additional time. But there you have it. This is the build I tend to use when it comes to casual farming expeditions. This build does guarantee a lot of rewards and is very efficient when it comes to stamina. Also, I want to demonstrate here the actual speed increase you get when you're using the Cry in the Night, the Nagakuga hunting horn. As you can see from this demonstration and comparison, when you're using the various buffs the hunting horn gives you, as well as the Assassin's Hood, it really can increase how fast you move. And whilst I'm not 100% sure about it, it feels that you loot faster when you're collecting items from gathering points. But every build has its pros and cons. Obviously, these builds are going to be a little unique when it comes to the pros and cons. The biggest pro for this build is, of course, its gathering potential, able to gather a lot of items or gather a lot of research points when you're on an expedition. On top of that, it's also a very fast build. Thanks to the Cry in the Night hunting horn combined with the Assassin's Hood, you're able to breeze and fly through levels at a quick rate. And then finally, this is also a build that is very good when it comes to stamina management. But unfortunately, every build has its pros and cons. Of course, the biggest con for this build is its combat potential is very low. And whilst yes, it can take on small monsters quite easily with this hunting horn, it's not going to be very good at taking on large monsters. And the other major con for this build is unfortunately it requires very high-end gear. But nonetheless, this is my go-to build whenever I just want a casual farming run to collect some items or farm research points. Which brings us on to our next build, which is the budget version of the Gavurin build. This build is similar to the one we've just shown off, but it's for players who haven't quite got to endgame yet or don't have the materials to craft the guild work armor set. So for this build, players will need the Gyros Headgear Beta, the Rathian Mail Alpha, Rathian Vambraces Alpha, Diablos Coil Beta, and the Baroth Greaves Alpha. I'm also using a Geomancy Charm, and for the weapon, again we're using Cry of the Night. Even if you haven't got it to that highest level, just crafting weapons in the Nagakuga tree should yield you the same songs, which are one of the aspects you need to consider with this build. Of course, augmentations don't matter, but when it comes to the mantles, I've gone for the Assassin's Hood and the Ghillie Mantle. A quick note that I should have mentioned in the previous build, the Assassin's Hood is easy to get, but it requires you to take on the event quest SDF Silent Deadly Fierce. Now this may not be available all the time, but it will definitely be here during seasonal events. So if you haven't already got it, try to remember when the next seasonal event is coming around so you can make time to get it. Anyway, as for the jewels, again you may have to make a few changes here and there. First, I've gone for Geology Jewels to max out the Geologist skill. If you were to get a hard Geology Jewel, this would free up some sockets for you. I've gone for Refresh Jewels for the Stamina Surge, Botany Jewels to max out the Botanist skill, a Hard Specimen Jewel for the Entomologist skill, and finally in the mantles I've just put a few Physique Jewels for a bit of Constitution. So if you've done what I've done here, you should have a build with 115 health, 100 stamina, which will be 165 health and 150 stamina when you're on a hunt and taking all your relevant consumables. The stamina can go up to 200 as well when certain hunting horn songs are in effect. You have an attack of 1071 with purple sharpness. You have 20% affinity with no element. We've already mentioned the hunting horn songs in the previous build, but a quick reminder would be that we get self-improvement, which includes movement speed up. We get tool use drain reduced L, we get stamina use reduced L, and when it comes to the Echo Mark melodies we have max stamina up and speed boost. As for your defense, it's an okay defense that's strong against fire and thunder but unfortunately weak to the other elements. But this build isn't designed for combat. Anyway, as for the skills, you have Botanist level 4, Marathon Runner level 3, Stamina Surge level 3, Geologist level 3, Entomologist level 3, Stun Resistance level 2, that reduces the likelihood of our hunter becoming stunned from monster attacks. You have Poison Attack level 2, this is a byproduct of the armor, it's not really needed on this build whatsoever. You have Horn Maestro level 2, Health Boost level 1, increasing our maximum health slightly. You have Recovery Up level 1, which increases healing effects and how much we heal from potions and such. You have Forager's Luck level 1, Detector level 1, and a potential Constitution at level 2 when we're wearing mantles. You'll also have the Raffian Essence set bonus, Poison Duration Up, which normally increases how long the poison element remains on a monster, but as I said, this build isn't designed for combat, so this isn't really needed whatsoever. This build is ultimately a budget build that gives us the maxed out Botanist skill, maxed out Marathon Runner, maxed out Geologist, as well as Forager's Luck and Detector. There are a few aspects that would have been nice to add to this, including Honey Hunter, but we are limited. Which brings us straight onto the pros and cons. Now, much like the previous build, this is a decent build for farming items and when you want to farm research points and other items from gathering points. It's also a build that is incredibly fast thanks to the Cry of the Night, Hunting Horn and the Assassin's Hood, and it's also a build that is good when it comes to stamina management. But unfortunately there are cons. Unfortunately it has next to no combat prowess whatsoever, and whilst it may be able to take out smaller monsters, it will struggle against large ones, and unfortunately this is also a build that has a lot of wasted skills like poison attack and such. But nonetheless, if you haven't got to endgame yet, this may be one to consider as it's quite easy to craft, and even if you don't have all the jewels that are featured in this budget build, you can easily replace them and come away with a very similar build. But there we have it, those are the farming builds that I use in Monster Hunter World Iceborne. But as I say, almost any task in Monster Hunter World Iceborne can be taken on with any weapon or gear set. But anyway, I hope you found this video helpful or informative, and until next time, I've been Darcblade, bringing you various Gavurin farming builds that I use in Monster Hunter World Iceborne. Hope you enjoyed the video, thanks for watching, subscribe and like for more.